Hey, Tony Gaskins here, popping in for a quick video. Well, I don't know how quick it'll be. I just got a flow. I got a great question. Said, are men intimidated by strong women? And I get this question quite a bit. And at first, I'll tell you this. I used to always say, no man is intimidated. No man is intimidated by a woman. It's just not in a man's makeup, not in his DNA to be intimidated by a woman. And I have to change my stance on that because I realize that I am not intimidated by any woman. I am not intimidated by any human. So, but that's me personally. And I think that that comes from knowing God. When you come into the knowledge of the Lord, then follows a strong confidence, which I believe the book of Proverbs talks about. But if you don't know God, see, that's the difference is when you know the Creator, then you know the Almighty. And when you know the Almighty, then there is no reason to fear or revere or be intimidated by human beings. And that's the thing. Not every man has come into that place of peace with his creator where he has a confidence regardless of how tall he is, how much he weighs, how much money he makes, how his voice sounds, what his accent is like, where he's from, how much schooling he has. Regardless of it, all of those things, if a man has come into the knowledge of God, then Christ, then he is a new creature and he is confident. So here's the thing. When you think about it, you have to look at society and you got to look at just the conditioning that we have undergone in the world. And this is across the board. Like, can you think of a country? You may know of a country if you really, really study history. But can you think just off the top of your head of a country where women are praised and women are put on top, women are put in power and in places of leadership, and this mindset and this lifestyle has been publicized and spread around that entire continent and reaching beyond that continent? Can you think of a place? And if you've studied a lot, you may know of some, little place here in some part of the world. But I know in America, that's not the case. There has always been this thing that puts men against women, women against men. And there's been this hierarchy that has put men at the top, meaning we have not had a woman be the president of the United States. We don't see a lot of women who are CEOs of major corporations. We are seeing it more now. Even in sports, we're starting to see women coaching in men's leagues, NFL, the NBA. Women are getting coaching jobs. Now, we haven't seen a head coach yet, and I'm not sure when that'll happen or if it'll ever happen. But when you look around, you see where men have been led to believe that we are the superior being, that we are intended to be the head, the leaders. And it's like, who came up with that? Who created that? And yes, it can be biblical, but there still were very powerful women and influential women, even in sacred text, like the Holy Bible. But men have been conditioned like this, and so have women. There are so many women who feel like the tail instead of like a part of the head or the backbone, the rib. So many women feel like the floor mat, the tail, the pinky toe, the lint between the toes. It's so many. I've heard so many women just in their conversation, in the way that they describe themselves, the way they describe a relationship, is just this coming from this place of weakness and insecurity, just being less than, being under the thumb of a man. And so when you have this being pushed even to as you're being raised and it's being pushed on you, that, and you hear just slogans like, oh, he runs like a girl, or oh, she plays like a boy. She can play with the guys. That implies that a man is more, that a man is superior, that a man is more gifted physically, mentally, emotionally, or what have you. Stop crying like a little girl. Stop, you're acting like a girl. That's what's said to men. So then it says to a man, okay, the woman is weaker. And that also, comes from the scripture where the man is being told to treat the woman as the weaker vessel. And so all of this is being, passed down. And there's certain families that take and raise the woman as if, hey, you are equal and or greater than any other human being. I don't care if it's a man, he's not better than you, he's not smarter than you, he doesn't deserve more than you. You can have whatever you want to have. And she grows up with the mindset like she can conquer the world. And there are a lot of men who are raised and always hear those sayings that's like, don't act like a girl, don't stop crying like a girl, stop playing like a girl, stop doing this like a girl. So then that puts in his mind, okay, a woman is less than. She is not on my level. She is weaker than me physically, mentally, emotionally, what have you. And so when that's being heard, it's really just conditioning us to the way we come into the world, the way we grow up. We are being conditioned. So this is why, and this is what plays a role in just the mental conditioning and the psychology, and the mindset of women and men. So now you have a woman, when a woman achieves a certain level of success, let's say hits 6 figures or starts to build a brand or a following or identifies her gift and it starts to gain her some notoriety. There's a lot of women who in those places want to shrink and be less than and downplay her success because the world has made her feel like she needs to know her place. She needs to stay in her place. And so she feels like, who am I to be earning 6 figures, to be the head of a company, to own my own company, or to be running someone else's company? Who am I to earn more than 90% of men in the world or in my country? Who am I? And so she starts to have this war and this battle within. And a lot of times that will cause those women to actually be easier than women who don't have their level of success. Easier meaning get on your back, eat faster. It will cause those women to relinquish their power, relinquish their control in their life to a weak and insecure man who is ready and willing to take that power and control. Meaning the woman comes in and she's the breadwinner and she makes, $500,000. The man makes, 35 to 70,000, and she gives him complete control over all of the finances and removes her mind from the equation of how money should be invested, saved, used for the family. And now this man starts to spend their money from his insecurity. So now the next thing you know, she's looking up and seeing bills not being paid, foreclosure notice, final notice on the lights and the water, and like, what is going on? And it's really, he's over here beating himself up and he's drinking too much, partying too much, getting into all this other stuff because he feels so small. He feels less than, because all his life he's been told that she is less than and that he is the head, that he is the breadwinner. He's supposed to bring home the bacon. He is supposed to be the one, in the spotlight, making the most money, providing for the family. So when that doesn't happen and it's not happening for him, he shuts down, he breaks down, he doesn't know how to respond to that because of all of the conditioning that is going on in his heart and mind. And so that is where and why it is true that there are a lot of men who are intimidated by strong women. And it's really just his positioning in his mind, how he views himself, how he views the world around him. And it's not his fault. It's just because that's what he's been told. If he was told, and if the world showed him in movies, the media, the magazines, if he was shown and told and led to believe, and he got to see the true value of a woman, the true abilities, what she's capable of, then he wouldn't be shocked. It wouldn't send him into a state of depression, anxiety, anger, frustration, jealousy when she earns more than him, or she gets online and builds a brand that's bigger than his. He wouldn't be sent into this place of worry and stress and self-sabotaging behavior if he was told throughout his life she is dynamic, she's equal to you, like she's no less than you. So we shouldn't be saying stop playing like a girl, stop acting like a girl, stop crying like a girl. But that's the things we say. So it takes and puts the man in this weak position, meaning he's not being affirmed. So he's coming up and he's not being affirmed. He's not being told about his own greatness. So he's weak and insecure, immature, lost, hurting, and confused. But yet he's being told that she's less than him. So if he feels like nothing, then how is he going to view her if she was always referred to as the weaker vessel, as less than, not understanding what that scripture means in the Bible when it was talking to a man? It wasn't saying that truthfully and literally she is not as capable as you. It was telling the man to treat her with honor and respect, and not to use what he could do in that day and time to hurt her, not to do those things to her, but to treat her with honor and respect as though she is the weaker vessel. And that being taken out of context to say like she is less than. And so that is why we have this phenomenon of women, growing more and more successful and men shrinking more and more. So now the tables are turned, where there was a time where a lot of women expected to just be taken care of, to be a stay-at-home mom, to get married, be a stay-at-home mom, and just manage the household and, help raise the youngins. But now it's a place to where the breakdown in society is causing men to be in a place of, insecurity and immaturity, and women in a place of not being able to depend on a man. So therefore having to get it how she lives, go get her own. And so now women are being asked and expected to, hey, get your education, get your bachelor's, your master's, your doctorate, whatever. Keep getting education so you can fend for yourself, take care of yourself. Do not depend on a man. So the flip side of this is, depending on where the messaging came from and what place it was coming from when it was given to a woman, some women could take this thing and become bitter towards men and say, you know what, you're sorry, you're less than, you're not even a man, I got me, I take care of myself, I don't need you, I'm this, I'm that. And what happens is there's this disposition, there is this thing inside of the woman that says, okay, I was told that I'm less than, and I was told that I couldn't do this and I couldn't do that. And then so the woman puts a chip on her shoulder and she achieves success with the wrong motives. So instead of doing it from a place of self-love, she does it from a place of anger, rebellion, or frustration. And therefore, when she gets it, she doesn't know how to wear it. She doesn't know how to really be humble and grateful for it. Instead, she stamps it on her forehead. She stamps it on her forehead. She gets the t-shirt. She gets the patch. She gets the purse, the backpack, everything that says, I am successful. And then she wears that as a badge of honor, and she attacks men with that. She, look, I'm more successful than you. You're a man. You're supposed to be all that. You're supposed to be strong. You're supposed to be the head. Guess what? Get under my foot. You the tail. I wear the pants. I'm the man. I make more money than you. You can't tell me nothing. And so she comes from this place of, anger and frustration because of all that she's heard. And so now you could have a man who actually was raised in a healthy way. He ends up with that woman, and he's being belittled, demeaned, talked down to, degraded because of where she's operating from. So you have opposites attracting. So here you have this one woman who is confident and strong in a healthy way in her position in the world, in her success, and she ends up attracting the man who is weak and not confident in his position, and his insecurities and vulnerabilities start to make him act out. So he acts out, and he uses what he has to woo a woman, to get a woman, to trap a woman, gets her, and then misuses her money, mistreats her, controls her, and breaks her down because of what he's feeling. And then you have the opposite happening, where you have this woman who, she was raised almost like a man eater, a man hater, because of what the world had done to women. So now she gets her success, and she wants to smear it in the face of any man she dates. So now she has this, this man over here who, he was healthy and whole and a good person, and would not have viewed her based on her success, her money, her accolades, and would have respected her and treated her right. And then the next thing you know, she's running in his face, smashing in his face, and he's like, whoa. So now he is feeling less than, and he's feeling broken down. So this is what's happening here, and I want you to understand this, that it is real. And the question is, okay, so what should a woman do? What should a man do? If you are a woman, then under no circumstances should you settle, should you relinquish your power, should you stop pursuing your goals and your dreams. You should not shrink. You have to be who you are, reach the highest level of success that you can reach. But what you have to understand is your accomplishments, how much money you make and what you do in the world, it doesn't define you. You're God's child, and you don't have to wear that on your forehead, wear it on your sleeve. You don't have to talk about it all the time. You don't have to make it your calling card. It doesn't have to be your slogan that I need a man. I want a man but don't need a man. I'm independent. I'm strong. I can do this all by myself. None of that has to come out of your mouth. That's already known and understood. So you can walk in just peace, harmony, humility, in the sense of you don't have to have a false sense of confidence with this arrogance and this ego because you've achieved some success, regardless of what the world has said about you and what you wouldn't be able to do. Once you do it, you gotta rest in the fact that you've done it and let that be good enough, and don't feel like you have to make men feel less than to make yourself feel better. And with men, what men need to do is men have to realize that, yes, the good book says to treat her as the weaker vessel, but that doesn't mean that she's incapable of earning, of growing, building, making a name for herself, holding her own. That doesn't mean she can't take care of herself, that she can't lead, that she can't be the head of a company, that she can't be, the head of a family. That doesn't mean that she doesn't have the wherewithal, the knowledge, the emotional intelligence, and the ability to do it. She can do it. So you have to understand that as a man. And what you have to do is you have to get beyond this thing of, oh, I'm the man, so I should be earning the most, and I'm the man, so I'm stronger and I'm better and I'm wiser and I'm smarter, and realize that she is fully capable, that she has a brain just like you have a brain. She has a spine just like you got a spine. She can hustle and grind just like you can hustle and grind, and that she is uniquely, fearfully, and wonderfully created in her own way, and she has her own strengths. So as a man, what you have to understand is that your strength is in your gentleness. What I mean by this is your strength is in your ability to love her, support her, and to help her flourish in her gifts and in her calling, instead of trying to suppress her and get her to be in a role of just stroking your ego, just stroking, trying to fill your voids because your parents didn't affirm you and speak life into you and show you and tell you all that you could be, all that you could become. So it's not your place to try to, debase this woman and strip her of her self-worth and her dignity. It's also not your place as a man to see this woman as your teammate. As your opponent. To see her as an opponent and treat her like an opponent, meaning trying to deceive her and manipulate her to get her to drop her guards so you can get behind the lines, get behind the walls, and then rob her from the inside out, be the enemy sleeping next to her. That's not the goal. That's not what you should be doing. But what you have to realize is that what she has in her that you may lack, the confidence that she has that has given her just the ambition and that go-getter mentality, that what she has, what you may be lacking, she can give that to you. She can speak life into you, and combine together as a team, y'all can accomplish all of your dreams. So instead of trying to tear her down, and instead of being intimidated by her, be inspired by her and allow her to add to your life, and then operate from the right place so that you can also add to her life. Because men and women are different, and regardless of the level of success a man has, a woman can add to that. Regardless of the level of success a woman has, a man can add to that. So if the two come together operating from a pure place, a place of self-love, then the two can join forces and be even more powerful and dynamic in the world than if you come in and you are opponents because of the mental conditioning or the lack thereof, the programming that you have in your mind that says this person, this gender is this and should be this, and my gender is this and should be this, and it's all what you were told by the world around you, the music, the media, the movies, all of these things, which may all be a lie. Because what you have to realize is that when you believe the lies about yourself, you cannot achieve your highest self. You cannot reach the level of being your highest self. And so when you are your highest self and when you are operating at your best, now you attract someone who is doing the same. Now you become very effective and efficient. Now you are a well-oiled machine as a couple, and you raise that in your children. When you're raising them, that's what you are passing down to them. So what happens is all of the things that we do compulsory, the things that we fall into Hey, this is a Sunday sermon now. That's why I'm a little bit in a little different zone today. So, forgive me for that. The things that we do, like just giving in to all of the impulse buying, the things that keep us trapped paycheck to paycheck, in mental poverty, even if you're not in physical poverty, just being mentally impoverished, all of those things, all of those behaviors, because of those belief systems that we have, when you really tap in to your highest self, you break that. So now there's no control. Now the control that allows a country to make billions and billions of dollars in one day because it's called Black Friday, now that day has no more control, or every other thing that has been put in place to kind of keep you like a rat in the rat race, just on the hamster on the wheel. Those things no longer work on you when you come into your highest self and you truly can see things for what they are, instead of just being a product of your environment or a product of your conditioning and programming as you were coming up. So I say this to say, women have to stop seeing men as just these bitter boys, these monsters. And although there are some of those things that may exist in both genders, and men have to stop seeing women as these, weak and feeble and inferior beings that cannot, think on their own and accomplish and achieve and worthy of leading. Men have to stop seeing women as less than and understand what it truly means when you receive the call from God to love your wife as Christ loved the church. What that truly means, and it doesn't mean that she's less than you and that you have to be the head in everything. Like, yes, I may call some shots in my marriage, meaning because that's my area of strength. Like my wife, she may always ask me and say, what do you think we should do? What do you think we should do? What should we do here? What should we do there? And there's a lot of times that I take and I put it back on her and I say, listen, that's your strength. You make that call. That's your strength. So she leads in a lot of areas and I lead in a lot of areas, but we both know our strengths and we're not trying to overstep those bounds. So she's not trying to tell me how to build business and every single thing I should be doing, because she knows this is what I do and that this is my gifting. And I'm not trying to tell her what to do with every aspect of her life, because I know those are her gifts. So once you understand that, you're able to come to a place to realize, and this is what, and if you got this far, put be blessed in the comments. I still got a little bit to go though. What you have to realize as a woman is that the man for you is not intimidated by you. And at no time ever should you as a woman relinquish your power, hide your position, drop your guards for an insecure, weak-minded man. And I remember coaching, so many times I've coached women, they're like, I'm dealing with this guy and I make money so I can afford to eat, steak and shrimp. He can barely afford a hot dog. So he want me to eat hot dogs with him because he feels like the man has to pay for everything. So we eating hot dogs, but I've surpassed that level and I want me some steak and shrimp. I want to eat at the nice restaurant. He trying to go through Nathan's hot dog drive-through and who put Vienna sausage on a bun, because that's where his fundage is at. Guess what? That's not your man. That's not your man. If you say I want this and he can't afford what you want, but yet he's also not comfortable with you being able to afford it, then that's not your man. So he's not going to say. Another thing is like, I've heard women say, well, y'all forgive me, throat got love. hurting. Been talking too much. And the woman says, well, I like jewelry, I like shoes, I like to shop, but he cannot afford some of the things that I buy for myself. So he wants me. So when I buy myself something, he gets mad and like, why did you get that? Why did you get that? I wanted to be able to get that for you. And then the woman is like, man, what am I supposed to do? Because I like nice things and I can afford it. But he gets mad because he's not the one buying it. That's not your man. Because if you like something and you have afforded yourself the opportunity and the ability to be able to get what you like, then you should be able to get what you like. And if he cannot afford it, then he should not have a problem with it if you go and get it for yourself. He should be happy for you. So this is what you have to understand. There are honest men who have come to the place of self-confidence that they know, those men know that they are millionaires or a billionaire, but just have not received the check in their hand. But they're confident enough to keep going, to trust the process, to keep using their gifts, to keep working, and to keep building. And their confidence will allow them to be okay with a woman who earns more than them and with a woman who can do for herself. And his confidence will allow him to just bring to the table the assets that he can bring to the table, which may be intangible things. He may have money, he may make money, but he may not make more than her. He may have a nice trajectory for his life, but his path may not be as fast as hers. His pace may not be as fast as hers, but he knows it's coming in due time, and he knows the tables will turn. So he wants to love and treat her with respect, because it may come a time she has to sit down for the family because she needs to be there, or maybe she wants to be there for the first few years, so that they don't have to go to daycare. And he knows it'll be in that season that he finds his stride and he steps up into his own, and his income is drastically increased. So he doesn't want her to be so broken emotionally because of what he's done to her that she can't function and be the best mother that she can be because of her pain that he's caused. So he will still speak into her life, love, and support her. And so as a woman, you have to realize that that man does exist. That although he may be warring in his spirit and he may have some other thoughts sometimes just based on the world around him, you can't go into it as a woman and being vindictive and angry and frustrated because you've met so many deadbeats. You still have to go from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm, so that when you meet the one, you have the heart and the passion and the enthusiasm to make it work with him instead of running him off. And so it's work that has to be done on both sides. What men also have to realize is that if you are the breadwinner and you earn more, you can't take and use that against a woman and say, oh, I make the money, so you got to do what I say do. Or if the tables turn to where it shifts to your favor as a man, that you're making the most money, that you're not then telling her she has to do what you say do because now you make the most money. Whether that was always the case or whether that becomes the case. So as a man, you got to be confident and you got to know who you are, and you got to love and respect and cherish regardless of the financial situation or the status situation. Sometimes it may not be a case, and I see this a lot too, to where it may not be a case that the woman is necessarily like the breadwinner making most money or this crazy amount of money, but it may be She's more of a public figure. She has a bigger name. More people know her. And that could be locally, like just in the city, like her just being a boss in the city. Or it could be even, in the celebrity world, where the woman's name is just bigger than the guys or just hotter than the guys. And that happens on local levels in small cities too. And so a lot of times men can act out when that's the case, and men start doing stuff. And here's the thing: what if you're a woman and you're dating and you are quote unquote dating down? What you have to be mindful of is that you still got to keep your eyes open, and you have to realize you always have to trust your intuition, and you can't relinquish your common sense or your power just because he's the man. You can't go into this space and say, okay, because he's a man, I'm gonna stop thinking, I'm gonna stop paying attention, I'm gonna stop using my gifts and my natural inclinations, my wisdom, because he's the man. And if I'm using my gifts, then I'm stepping on his toes and making him feel like less than. So let me shrink, let me shut up, let me be quiet, and let him call all the shots because he's the man and I want him to feel like a man. No, that's ignorant. That's ignorant. You're gonna lose, because that's the reason why a woman was created, to bring something to the table, to bring your unique set of gifts to the table, to be coupled with a man's unique set of gifts so that you can build and strengthen one another. You complement each other instead of one person being depleted to try and complete the other person, whether it goes the other way around or not, because it goes both ways. Sometimes it's the woman doing it to the man, sometimes it's the man doing it to the woman. And so understand this, ladies, stop shrinking. Just because you're successful and you have these things, these accomplishments, you don't have to wear it on your sleeve and brag about it and talk about it and just offer this unsolicited information. But if you're asked what you do, what degrees you have, answer those questions. Answer those questions with pride, with confidence, and just knowing that you matter, you are sufficient, you are enough, and know that the man for you will be totally fine with it. And if it is intended for the relationship to be a situation where the man is the breadwinner or has the bigger name in the community, if that's what's going to make your household function better because of how you view the world and how he views the world, be it right or wrong, you're going to attract that if that's what it's supposed to be. But don't shrink or change or settle trying to, just because you want to have a warm body, just because you want to have somebody. So understand this, ladies, if as you're single or even if you're in a relationship, keep pressing, keep pressing, keep growing, keep doing what this season calls of you, what it requires of you. And if it's a season of being a homemaker, meaning stay at home moms or stay at home wife, if that's the season, okay, be the absolute best at that in that season. If the season calls for you pursuing your, corporate dreams, your world dreams, your business dreams, then be the absolute best in that season. And don't compromise for a man's fragile ego, for his fragile masculinity. And as men, know who you are, but operate understanding that your strength is in your humility, it's in your gentleness. That as a man, you shouldn't allow your money and your success to go to your head and make you feel like you're better than anybody else, like you're better than a woman, and or like she is less than. And if on the other side, if you are not where you want to be as a man, you should not let that make you feel like you are less than, like you are unworthy, incapable, and like you have to bow down to a woman in the sense of letting her mistreat you and run all over you and dog you out because you need somewhere to stay, or you want somebody with this level of money so your life can be better. You can't shrink into that role either, because you're going to despise that woman and you also are hating yourself. So listen, this is a tough conversation to have. And I feel like in one way or another it affects everybody today, because never before have women been in a position to be this vocal, this ambitious, this successful. The world is changing. That's why I try to tell y'all the world is changing. So as the world changes, you gotta be able to read and respond. Not read and react, read and respond. And you have to understand your position in the world and what you're capable of doing and what that means, what that is saying. So that's why I'm saying also to women all the time, like, today is the day of the female boss. We've always had male bosses, but now we have female bosses as well. And it's growing, and it's going to continue to grow. Within the next few elections, we probably most likely will see a woman become the president of the United States. And so with that happening, look, things are changing. And that's why I say that we're becoming more and more equal. We've always been equal in a sense in God's eyes, but man has taken and created this separation, this division, which then turns into this resentment and animosity. But today the playing fields are becoming more and more level. And that's why I say, like, it's nothing wrong today if a woman earns more money and she says, listen, I can afford this meal at this steakhouse. We don't have to keep going to Babalu's eating this processed food that they heating up in the microwave back there just because you feel like you have to pay for this. Like, I can afford, my job, my income allows us to be able to afford something. We a team. So let me put in too, and we could eat a little better over here. And this is a day and time to where there's nothing wrong with a woman paying for the meal, as long as she has a man that truly respects, loves, and values her and treats her with respect. That if you are a boss in the boardroom, in your business, in your life, you don't have to come and be an intern in your relationship. You don't have to come in your relationship and be a personal assistant, to be a maid, to be a janitor. If you are the CEO in the world, in your business, you don't have to come and shrink in your relationship. You can be who you are, and what life has allowed you to be. Does not mean you have to be arrogant or condescending, but it also does not mean that you should have to shrink and relinquish your position, your power, and your influence and your success to placate, coddle. Placate. I don't even know what that means. Sound good though. What it means? Look it up. Hey, it just felt good right there. You hear me? You don't have to. Let me use it again. Placate. Is this even a word? I'll look it up. Y'all don't put the definition. I'm not literally saying look this up, okay? So you don't have to play to his weakness, to his ego. And if he can't get with it, you hear me? If he cannot get with it, then move on with your life. Point blank, period. That's not your man. So if you feel yourself having to shrink, having to hide your success, having to play a role just to make him feel like more of a man, that's not your man. That's not your man. So understand that, as real as I could put it. And make sure that you check the links in the description. A lot of y'all send me a message or put in the comments, where do I do this, where do I do that. I try to put all my relevant links in the description. If you need a life coach, I'm on mymentor.life. That's a website, mymentor.life. It's a lot of other coaches on there too. So look around, browse around, understand it's a new site, still working through a few kinks. So if you book a coach and they happen to be late or miss the session, just send an email in. You probably could find their name on Facebook too. And just understand sometimes the email address may be blocking the email because it's new. But a lot of coaches been getting booked, having sessions. They're telling me their clients are signing up for another session. So look, I'm about growth. We're about growing. Y'all gonna see me in the My Mentor headquarters sometimes shooting videos. But this is my home office, but sometimes I'll be in the corporate office shooting, so you'll see that from time to time because I just went in and got it, moved in. But thank you so much for the support to all the Blessed Tribe members. Thank you very much for being a member of the Blessed Tribe. Sometimes, with YouTube, they strike certain videos for certain words that you may say. And sometimes if I got to be extremely real with you, I have to say certain words, just being real. But having the members, it helps me because if YouTube say, listen, boom, we can't do anything with this. So this zip zero zilch, or we got to take this down, I'm able to give it to the members because the members saying, hey Tony, I appreciate what you're doing. Here go my $1.99 to put in the hat so you could keep on with these here videos on a daily basis or close to it. So thank y'all so much. And if you want to become a member of the Blessed Tribe, the link is in the description. It says to become a member of this channel and join the Blessed Tribe. Click here. Thank y'all. God bless you. We'll talk soon. Oh, before I go, I got some upcoming events now. The 21st in Atlanta, the singles workshop. It's not that many tickets left. The 22nd is a life coaching certification in Atlanta. And if you can't make it to the live one, but you want to still become a life coach, you can take it online at TonyGaskinsAcademy.com. You get 50% off of the online one, not the live one because it's already 50% off. But the online one, to get 50% off, you got to use the coupon code MyMentor. No spaces, no caps, MyMentor. February 23rd, I'll be in Orlando. It's a self-love event. That's not my event, but I'm a featured speaker. It's in Orlando. And also, the big thing that I'm really excited about is the retreat in August, the self-love retreat, August 14th through the 16th. It's a retreat. It's in California. It's up in the mountains on this beautiful campus, 3 meals a day, 3 hots in a cot, as they'll call it. We do, I think, 2 sessions a day. It's 2 nights, 3 days. You just could put down a deposit, and you pay over time. So the link in the description, TonyGaskins.com/events. Check out I got some other events on there. I look forward to meeting you in person, taking a picture with you on the road. God bless you. We'll talk soon.